Hey everybody, welcome to another off-the-shelf board game review. This week we're looking at Warhammer Underworlds Shadespire, a game from Games Workshop for 2 players that's easily expandable all the way up to 4 players with a couple expansions. Now on the surface this looks like a typical Games Workshop miniatures game, and that could not be further from the truth because Games Workshop has stepped out of their comfort zone to bring us a tactical war game that's all about the figures, your warbands, bringing them down to the table and playing the game differently than anything you've ever experienced from Games Workshop ever before. Because in Warhammer Underworlds, every single player controls a warband, whether in this example we happen to have the Blood Reavers or the Liberators, and you're trying to go against your opponent and take them out and get the most glory. The Grand Victor is a person who has the most glory at the end of the game, but there's multiple different ways you can get glory. You have your typical way of getting glory by removing your enemies from the board, but the other very interesting way that you can get glory is by completing objectives. And here's the really interesting thing about Warhammer Underworlds. Everybody comes to the table with their own warband, and every time you play the Blood Reavers, you always get these 5 figures. Every time you play Liberators, you always get these 3. And when you play the Orcs and the Undead, basically the same situation. You always have the same figures, but before you come to the table, you must build your deck of cards that gives your special abilities, such as your upgrades, such as your ploys, and also gives your objectives. Your objectives are going to give you the most amount of victory points. Sure, you can gain glory and victory points for taking out your enemies, but the most amount of victory points you can get are from playing these gold cards. And here's the ultimate trick about this game, showing us a little bit of Euro roots with this style game. In this game, every single player gets 12 activations only. Yes, exactly 12 activations, which means your card play and your objectives and the way you're playing the game must be very tight, very controlled, and you must be agonizing over all your decisions because every one of your decisions matter because you only get 12 activations in the entire game. And not only that, there's some activations you can do that are going to lock your figures out because the game is played over 3 rounds. Every single round, a player is going to get 4 activation tokens. Once all the players have gone through activation tokens, we're going to start another round. Do it a second time, do it a third time. Again, at the end of that, whoever has the most glory is going to be the grand winner of the game. Now, like I said, the interesting thing is every single player comes with their own warband. These warbands that may upgrade as you go on, playing the game depending on certain criteria they need to upgrade, make it a little more powerful, and every one of these warbands plays ever so slightly differently based on the cards that you bring to the table, based on the statistics, based on the way these warbands are comprised of less units, kind of tanky units, or more units have the ability to move across the board quite well and do lots of great damage. But you also have your special cards that are going to play differently because you have cards that only your warband can use. There's also general cards that everybody can use, and again, you're going to build your card deck every time you play the game with a maximum of 12 objectives, but a minimum amount of 20 of these ploy and upgrade cards. You must build your deck every time you play the game and before you hit the table. While combat is handled with a roll of the dice, there is a little bit more tactical abilities to the game because while you may be rolling dice and looking for critical hits, total successful hits based on what kind of weapons you may be using, and also defense dice to protect you, you also get the ability to support. So there's tactical decisions you're going to make by moving your figures across the board in special ways to ensure that you get support to outnumber your enemy to take them out, while they're trying to make sure they get a little bit of support from preventing you from doing exactly just that and taking out their units. But again, it's not about taking out your units, it's all about obtaining the glory by doing these objectives and also playing these cards that you have in your hand that are going to allow you to do things such as modify your units, such as giving you special abilities that you can attach to your units, or you can get certain ploys that you can play on the board that allow you to do different things that affect your opponents, or you can just go ahead and modify the board, the layout of the board, adding extra obstacles, extra things on the board, and changing up the gameplay of the game. Now, if you want to learn how to play Warhammer Underworlds Shadespire, you can check out my full tutorial video where I'll do a complete tutorial of the game and show you how the game is played. You can also check out my full gameplay video where I'm going to go through a full gameplay of the game. And the wonderful thing about Warhammer Underworld Shadespire is this is a very fast playing game. With 2 people who understand the rules of the game and play the game multiple times, it's very easy to get a game in under 25 minutes from setup to completely finishing a game. Well, if you want, you can check out my full review of the game. I'm going to give you my opinion and tell you everything I thought about the game. If you enjoy this video, you enjoy this video series, click that like button, click that subscribe button. Also, you can also feel free to email me at offtheshelfboardgamereviews. That's otsbgr@gmail.com. As always, thanks for watching.